Hi, I'm Gina McGuire, and I am the president of Gina Marie Skincare, as well as a licensed esthetician for over 30 years. Today, I hope to share some of my knowledge with you on product knowledge. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of confusion in our industry on different types of products, different brands, and a lot of marketing. So my goal today with you is to give you some clarification and just kind of starting at the bottom and working our way up. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and begin this presentation with you.
Here. So the beauty industry, I thought we'd start with some facts. Um, who is our competition? Where is this industry going? And when I say beauty industry, I am really talking about the cosmetology, aesthetic, the nail industry. And we're all into one lump sum here. So the global cosmetic product market was valued at 532.43 billion in 2017. And look where we are projected to be by 2023. $805.61 billion. That is where this industry is projected to be. Now, with COVID-19, there are changes, changes that are taking place and obviously going to affect our industry, but I am very confident that we are going to be very strong once we get back and running. And if we play it right and we do our homework while we have this time, there's an industry out there waiting for us. And I just taught another webinar on this, talking about that we really are the beauty industry, are the estheticians, cosmetologists, nail technicians. We are the frontline people of this new world, this new way of how things are going to be when we're able to get back to work. If you look, the worldwide skincare, beauty, and cosmetic industry is predicted to be worth over 670 billion by this year. So I'm sure those numbers are going to be tweaked a little bit because of the COVID-19, but we know we are on the rise, and I feel very confident sitting here before you saying that I think these numbers will go up. Let's take a look then at the medical aesthetics. And boy, is that growing leaps and bounds. We're projected to be at 17.7 billion by 2023. Definitely is on the rise. And a few things, there's a lot of words here, but I think it's worth going over as I was doing my research. And I want to point something out here. Our competition in skin can be medical aesthetics, but here's something interesting. And if you look down to where I believe you can see my cursor here, where I made an asterisk, it says here, on the other hand, market growth is limited to a certain extent by factors such as the clinical risks and complications associated with medical aesthetics procedures and the increasing, now this is the key here, and this is the exciting part for us, the increasing availability and adaptation of alternative beauty and cosmetic products. So what does that mean? It means, yes, medical aesthetics is growing. However, there are complications when someone chooses that route. And because there are products out there that can be very effective, if we know what we're doing and why we're doing it, we are going to get some of that in our end, those that are not in medical aesthetics. So, there's pros and cons to both. And that's a whole nother discussion for another day, but we will cover some of that. But I thought that was some interesting statistics here. So you are the expert. The goal is to stop the confusion. And as someone who teaches continuing education, as truly that, as I said, is my passion, I can tell you there is a lot of confusion out there. No matter which profession you are under, meaning cosmetology, aesthetics, or nails, there's a lot of confusion. So many products, and you saw that. You can see it here on the slide. So many products, so many salespeople telling us what we should do and why we should do it. The average woman, okay, this is consumer, and I guess we could fall under that as well because we all are consumers. The average woman has up to $700 worth of cosmetics and skincare sitting in her vanity drawer in her bathroom. Doesn't mean she uses it all. It's sitting there because a new thing comes along, we put that away, we go buy the new thing, If that doesn't work, we can always go back to the other. We never really throw it away because just in case we spent our money, we want to make sure. And to me, that only indicates they're confused. Um, Anyone is going to tell you how great their product is if they sell a product. I mean, they should, right? That's their job. To me, particularly as the professional, if you do not see a change immediately in the skin, why should that person buy the product? If you, as the professional, do not understand what that product is supposed to do and have some background of ingredients, a little bit of chemistry, pHs, we, as the manufacturers, can sell you. And that should not be the case. So hopefully today we're going to clarify some of that. So you need to learn how to make informed decisions when it comes to choosing skincare. And as I said, it's growing. The industry is growing leaps and bounds. The other thing that I want to just kind of point out is that not only we have medical aesthetics, right? We have over the counter, and that would be our Sephora, Ulta, Cliniques, etc., department stores. Our home products where people go into the home. And now who are selling these things? Influencers. And they are grabbing the attention of our clients like no other. So we really need to know what we're talking about, what we're doing, and we need to stop the confusion on our end so our clients will trust us. This is something else that I feel very strongly about. If you sell a product and you offer skin treatments or whatever treatments, hair, nails, and your client is not buying the product from you, I firmly believe it's because they don't trust you. I don't think it has anything to do with price, the cost of the product, because they're spending money for a service from you. I really believe it's because we are confused. Our communication, and many of us don't like the idea of being a salesperson, but we are the experts. If they're not buying it from us, who are they buying it from? And mainly, it's from non-licensed people. So that's something for us to think about. And begin to ask yourself, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? When are you doing it? How are you doing it? Four major questions that not only should we be asking ourselves today and giving thought to this, but this is something, in my opinion, that you should be continually asking yourselves, really with every single client that you're working with. What are you doing with them? Why are you doing it? When should you do it? And how are you going to go about doing it? And then the next set will be, what ingredients are in the products that you're using to accomplish the what, why, when, and how? And then we're going to ask, do they work? Here's the question. Here's the biggest question for you. Do you have these answers? Or are you listening to the salespeople? And by the way, I am not knocking in any way a sales product rep. A sales rep, that's their job. But as professionals, licensed professionals, we need to have these answers. We need to know why we want to do a certain thing and when to do a certain thing and how to do a certain thing and when not to do a certain thing. So do you have these answers? If you don't, these are things that you really need to look into. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch here. So when we talk about products, when we talk about ingredients and what products to use and how, when, who, and why, you have to remember what you're using the products on. And this is very important. You're using them on skin, the largest uninterrupted organ of the body. No beginning, no end. It's continuous, right? However, this is where it gets tricky. It kind of gets muddled. And even as we graduate from school and go into our careers, we lose sight of this uninterrupted organ. And we begin to go the sales end. So here's the question, science or sales? Don't be fooled by marketing. I am not suggesting that you should not be marketing to your clients. I am not suggesting that you should not. I think you should be selling products to your clients 100%, because that's where we're going to make our money, is in retail. And then of course in services next. But I am suggesting that you as the professional not be fooled by the salesperson. If you stick to the science I can guarantee making a decision is going to be much easier. You're going to make an informed decision. I'm going to repeat this. Anyone selling a product will tell you how good it is. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. They're salespeople. They're teaching you about their product. As a professional, you need to know the difference. You need to see the difference. You need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because each of us is a teacher. We teach what we know. We're either going to teach the right information or the wrong information. And from my experience over the years, I can tell you that many of us in our industry are teaching the wrong information. We're saying different things to our clients. And opinions are opinions. The truth is the truth. And if we base our choices on skin being the largest uninterrupted organ of the body, I feel very confident in telling you that you're going to be pretty safe in making wise choices when it comes to choosing the products that you use and the products that you prescribe for your clients. Before we move further, let's touch upon two words here: uninterrupted and continuous. Both of those words mean the same thing. So skin is the largest organ, right? It's a two-sided organ. It's the only organ we can see, and it wraps everywhere around us. There's no beginning, there's no ending. So the idea of having all of these different products out there, hair products, facial products, neck products, body products, hand products, foot products, men products, women products, teen, baby, tween, all of these different skincare lines, all of these different products to treat the largest uninterrupted organ of the body, tells me and tells you that that is marketing. It's not required by the organ to have all of these different products. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't sell it. I encourage you, but you have to be careful of how you sell it, what you say to your client. So for an example, if I was your client and I happen to know that skin is the largest uninterrupted organ of the body, I understand that you don't need many different products to clean one organ. And you told me, well, Gina, you really need this for your face. And then I want you to use this for this and this for this. I would know that you do not have a good understanding of skin. You have a good understanding of product and product knowledge, but not a good understanding of skin. So we have to be careful how we use our words when we talk to our clients. You don't know who's sitting in your chair or laying on your treatment table. We need to use our words wisely. I'll tell you, most women are not going to let their kids use what they use. So they're going to buy, and they're going to buy all different types of products. That's okay. But we want to be able to teach them, to educate them, to prescribe for them in a way that is very professional. Again, that's what makes us have a license. That's what makes us stand out and be the experts. I'm also going to add this when we talk about experts. Besides a physician, an esthetician and cosmetologist, and a nail tech in a small way because they're given only a certain percentage of skin to work on. However, we are the only licensed profession that can work on skin. A nurse cannot do what we can do unless they are under a doctor's licensing. That's pretty incredible. We need to think about what we're doing and what we're saying and what products we're using. So we're going to finish this slide with saying science or sales. Don't you be fooled by marketing. We know the clients are fooled. We know they're confused. Our job is to unconfuse them, to let them know we know what we're talking about, but we can't do that until we are educated properly. All right. I just love this subject. So, a human pore and a protective layer. Think about this. This is what you're working on. When you talk about, talk about products, purchasing products, prescribing clients for their skin. What are you really talking about? You're talking about a human pore that's multiplied and a protective layer, because that's what we're licensed to work on. We have as many as 2,800 openings per square inch of skin, if you can imagine that. But if I were to say, all right, let's make a square inch on a piece of paper, and I want each of you to take a pen and dot 2,800 openings, you probably couldn't even do it. These openings are what move things in the skin, but wait, move things out of the skin. And that's a whole nother webinar in itself. But these pores that we call, these openings that we call pores, come out in two ways. If you remember back in school, and students, this will be a good refresher for you. We remember it through the hair follicle and the sweat gland. That's how we remove toxin, we remove waste. And we can also, unfortunately, put that back into the skin through these openings. So 2,800 openings per square inch of skin. The top layer, that protective layer, is dead. Okay, so we always have to keep in mind, what are we licensed to work on? Dead skin. In a nutshell, that's what we're licensed to work on. But if we do our job right and we choose products right and ingredients, we can have an effect on the life for sure. So, fact, if you use products that lay on the top layer of skin, we are essentially, and I want you to think about this, if you use products that just lay on this top layer, we are essentially rubbing oil, because we always have oil on our skin, and environmental debris around this top layer. We're just rubbing oil and dirt. So we need something that goes beyond, something that does more than that. And when we use products that just lay on this top layer, we risk filling the pores, those 2,800 openings per square inch of skin, we risk filling those pores with dirt and debris. So we have to be very careful and very cognizant of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay. So here is an actual human pore magnified 2,400 times. And this picture I just think is amazing. When we think of a pore, we tend to think of like a little dot in the skin, right? Just all these little openings in the skin. And skin is no thicker than a sheet of paper, actually. So it's a miracle in itself of how skin, the structure of skin actually works. But we have all of these openings, right? 2,800 openings per square inch of skin, our entire body. And these openings are like it's not just a dot in the skin, it's like a cavern. And when I say that, like a cave, you know, it's rounded. And inside of the pore, bacteria moves through the pore, number one. That's how we eliminate. That's why perspiration has an odor to it, because that's toxin that comes out. Our oil comes out through these pores, through that hair follicle. And so we're always eliminating through these pores. And again, we put things through, you know, back in topically. Bacteria clings to the walls. And you have to be able to envision what these pores look like beyond what we see. So a pore is not just a little dot in the skin. It actually has all of this bacteria that clings to it inside. And this is a blown up human pore. So it's very cool to be able to see it. And now our job as the professional is being able, when we look at a client's skin, whether it be through the magnifying lamp or just with the naked eye, is being able to visualize what's happening in there. If someone has acne or blackheads or milia, whatever it may be, we have to be able to try to figure out what's going on inside that particular pore. And then what can I do? What can I use? How do I use it? When do I use it? What do I recommend for that client to be able to solve this problem? Okay. How do you choose a product? This is the tricky part, right? Is it science? Is it sales? Or is it both? Well, if I were to give my opinion, I would probably say it's all, all of them, both of them, all, the science and the sales. Because it's great to use a wonderful product, but we want to be able to sell it, right? Whether it's selling in a skin treatment for that client to come to us because A, B, and C, this product can do this, or because, and this is what we should be doing, is then retailing to our clients. So I think we have to base our decisions on the science being number one, okay? And then on the saleability of that product. So science should be first. And when we talk about science, doesn't that bring us to the anatomy? Doesn't that bring us to skin being the largest uninterrupted organ of the body? Yes. So you need to understand how that organ works to make an informed decision. Otherwise, manufacturers such as myself can sell you if you don't know the difference. We can use words, we can use ingredients, and throw that out there to you to make it appealing for you to want to buy it. And I just, once again, cannot reiterate enough how important it is as professionals, we are able to know the difference. Now, if you work for a company where they have a certain skincare line that they carry, and then you are responsible for using in the treatment room and then retailing for that salon or spa or medical facility, you need to understand why and how and all of those questions. If you're not the one choosing the product line, you as the professional still need to have a very good understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Remember this: anyone can follow a recipe if you know how to read and follow directions. That is not what makes you a good skin therapist. What makes you a good skin therapist is figuring out the puzzle, answering those questions that I presented earlier to you. It's being able to go from plan A to plan B and knowing the whys of what you're doing. That's now this is my opinion, that's what makes you a good skin therapist. If you're just following protocol, and of course you should, but you don't understand the reasons behind that protocol and when not to follow that protocol, because and we're going to talk about this shortly, then you're just following a recipe. And there's a lot of competition. The industry is growing, right? I said that. I gave you the statistics. Well, growth means what? Growth means competition. It means we better know what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. All right. So, how do you choose the product? Science, sales, or both? Natural, organic, clean, chemical. These are 4 words that are thrown around in our industry, whether it be in hair care, nail care, obviously skin care, food, the food that we eat. We hear about this all the time. And so let's take natural. And you see the tree there, right? Natural. Natural ingredients are wonderful, but I want you to understand that nothing is natural once you cut down the tree. It has to go through a process. On the slide before, when we talked about formulating and developing a product, it must go through a process. So natural ingredients are excellent as long as they're the right ones, right? That are not going to cause harm to the skin. But once the tree's cut down or whatever, the berry's taken off, it has to go through a process. And we have to trust at some point that process, the chemists know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay. We're going to go back to natural in a moment. Let's talk about organic. That is huge right now. From the food that we eat, to our clothing being organic, to our thinking being organic, and most certainly to our products being organic. Organic, just so you understand this, organic is not approved. Someone can put on their label organic. We have organic products, or I'm sorry, organic ingredients and products. That is not approved. The FDA does not approve that. Anyone can put organic on their product line. And so you got to be careful with this. And I'm not suggesting that there's not certain products, certain ingredients that are better than others, and certain product lines out there that are not more organic. However, we as the professional need to be careful because there's not a lot of regulation out there on this. So people easily, manufacturers, salespeople can easily say that where it's not so much the truth. And we're going to get into ingredients, what to look for, but something you need to understand here is someone can say naturally derived ingredients, organic, and let's say a lot of those ingredients in that cleanser are naturally derived, they're organic. Okay, those natural ingredients are organic. And then they've got other ingredients in there that are pluggers, that are not good for the skin. So just because something says it doesn't mean it's completely true and it's all good. And we need to know the difference. And I can tell you most certainly, I teach consumers, I teach the professional. There's confusion. And we're very confused on this subject. Let's talk about clean. Clean is huge right now. It's, again, not approved. These are words that came out by manufacturers. They use these words to describe their product, but everyone has a different definition of what clean means. So for some, let's say, if it has a chemical in it or a certain chemical, it's not clean. Well, how do they decide that? Who decides that for us? Who is it that decides? Is it the FDA that decides that? Is it the manufacturer that decides that? Is it the salesperson that decides that? Who is deciding this for us of what's clean and what isn't clean? And this is something that you personally have to give thought to, and you have to question some of this because there's confusion. And then next we have chemical. And again, we need chemicals, you know. Do I think that chemicals are all good for us? No, I don't. But I think in order for things to work a certain way, we need to have chemicals in our products to keep us safe, to make them more effective. Let's go back to the natural aspect. You know, natural ingredients, let's say herbal supplements, whether we take them, whether we use them topically, can cause just as much damage and harm to the skin as certain chemicals can. So we really need to be careful. You know, when we tie natural, organic, and clean into one lump sum, and then we put chemical to the other side, please understand that natural, organic, clean products can cause harm to the skin just, if not more, as chemicals can, okay, or chemically derived ingredients. You need to be careful here. It's complicated. You know, it's not a cut and dry because some of these things are not approved, and people are using these, you know, product companies are using these words and this marketing tool to sell us. All bodies fluids maintain a pH balance, and they're responsible for our well-being. This gets a little tricky, and I can tell you from my teaching career, this is a subject that most estheticians, cosmetologists do not have a good understanding of. In my opinion, I don't know how you choose a product without understanding this, quite honestly, because this has such a huge effect on what we do to the skin and the outcome. Our blood, saliva, urine all control the condition of the skin organ, which includes hair and nails. Remember, hair and nails are an appendage of skin. A pH is measured on a scale of 0 to 14, and you can see that on your screen. A pH of 7 would indicate a neutral pH, okay? It's neither acid or alkaline. And to give you an idea, distilled water would be considered neutral. Acid has a positively charged ion. Alkaline has negatively charged ions. The body is and I want you to think about this and remember this. The body is continually striving to balance pH. It just does it on its own. Unbalanced pH is the beginning of disease. I'm going to repeat that. Unbalanced pH is the beginning of disease. Don't mess with it. Our body is created. Our skin has a certain pH on it to keep us alive. Okay. pH, acid. Skin is acid. It ranges from 4.5 to 5.5 on that pH scale. Our skin has a very specific reason for being acid in nature. Number one, it acid hardens. Skin is hard. It is not soft. It is hard. It repels bacteria. Right now, you and I sit in a room filled with bacteria. We don't come down with the disease because as this bacteria touches our skin, this acid mantle is repelling it off. Nothing can invade us and hurt us. And you have to think about hurt what? Hurt our internal organs, right? Our body systems. And acid, when it's 4.5 to 5.5, it holds moisture for us, okay? So it's one of the ways that we stay alive. When we change the pH, to either alkaline or we lower the pH, we have to ask ourselves why. And we're going to talk about this in a moment. But if healthy skin is 4.5 to 5.5, shouldn't it stay that way? And shouldn't the products that we use on our skin be 4.5 to 5.5? Of course they should, because that's how the human body is meant to work. That's what we're supposed to have to keep us healthy. And I'm just going to say this again, it keeps the skin hard so nothing hurts us in our environment. It repels that bacteria so we don't come down with the disease. And it helps to keep our skin moisturized, okay? So we don't dry up. Let's go to alkaline. Alkaline is the opposite of acid. So it's a pH of 7 plus on the scale. Alkaline, if acid hardens, alkaline's going to soften. Skin is not soft, it's hard. Alkaline attracts bacteria. Okay, so wait, now I have a client. That client has acne or psoriasis or eczema, whatever it may be. Are they using a pH that's alkaline? Are they using a cleanser that's alkaline? Well, if that's the case, guess what? That attracts bacteria. It doesn't matter how great your treatment was. If that client goes home and uses something that's wrong, we're just going in a very non-productive way. And we're not going to get that result that we're looking for and that the client's looking for. You have to ask yourself too, are you using alkaline products? Do you know the difference? You should know the difference. As a licensed professional, you need to know this information. And alkaline will dry. Look how many moisturizers are on the market. So we cleanse, we dry, and then what? We have to moisturize. It's a constant vicious cycle. And so part of this is that changing of the pH. And I have never understood, quite frankly, why we do this on a daily basis. I do understand why a professional would do it on a weekly or a monthly basis with the client temporarily, changing that pH, but I don't understand it on a daily basis. It has nothing to do with beauty. The pH being 4.5 to 5.5 is there to keep us alive, to keep us healthy. So we should not be fooling with that. Products with a lower pH, and you're going to find that very much right now. This is very popular in our industry. These are products that we are using a lot in our industry, and you need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Products that fall below the 4.5 on the pH scale will be lower than that of skin. So it's going to lower the pH of skin when that pH falls below 4.5. If using ingredients such as, and I capitalize these, alpha hydroxy acids, glycolic acids, BHAs, retin-As, retinols, so popular right now, witch hazels, alcohols, etc., expect a reaction in the skin. Okay? You want a reaction in the skin. That's why you're lowering using a product, or when we make products, we lower that pH under the 4.5 because we want the skin to react differently than its healthy way. Okay? That's the purpose of it. So you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I also want you to understand that these type of ingredients are intended to do one thing, and that is to burn the skin in a controlled way. Now, I always laugh when I say this when I teach my classes. You're not going to say to your client, lay down, I want to burn you, right? But you as the professional better know that's what you're doing. We use fancy words, exfoliate, regenerate the cell, remove dead cell layers. We use that terminology, but what are you doing? You're burning the skin. Because what does acid do? Acid burns. Have you ever heard, like, if you take a nail and put it in Coca-Cola, let's say a can of Coke, it eats away at it. That's because it's very acid. Acid indigestion, when we talk about internally, right? It's too much acid. It's the same type of thing. So when we use those type of ingredients, you're burning the skin. Okay? Is that good for the skin? The answer is no, it's not. Is there a time to do it? Yes. You as the professional need to know when, who, how, what, all those questions I asked you in the beginning. You have to be constantly asking yourself each time you use those products. And just because they're popular right now, and they are, okay, and they do have benefit, don't misunderstand me, they do. But just because they're popular, they're trending right now, doesn't mean that we should always be doing it. And that's for us to decide as the licensed professional. And I hope that helped. All right, what you should know, and this is important. Did you know in order for a product to be effective, it must meet these two requirements? Number one, it must have a balanced pH. You understand why I hope better now, that pH should be between 4.5 and 5.5, because that's how we're born, that's how we stay alive, that's how we stay healthy. And a product must have the ability to move beyond that dead layer. Okay, remember, this top layer is dead. Dead is dead. All you're doing is rubbing oil and dirt around if that product just lays there. So in order for a product to be effective, it must have those two qualities to it, a balanced pH and the ability to move beyond. If a product lacks either one of those qualities, it's not effective from the health standpoint, okay? So keep that in mind. Water is what flushes in and out of skin. I want you to picture those 2,800 openings. That is what moves in and out of our skin. That's why we take showers in water or baths in water. That's why we should drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's what moves in and out of these openings. So water, and there's a lot of controversy on this, people telling us now, right? Manufacturers, products, okay? People who make products, who sell products are telling us, well, if water is your main ingredient in there, you're really just buying water. It's really just diluted. I very much disagree with that. The body is mainly made up of water, okay? Water is even considered a nutrient. Water is the vehicle that moves ingredients, other effective ingredients in and out of all of these openings. So water, to me, should be the number one ingredient because that should be the base, okay? If you're using oil-based products, and I did not put this in the slide, but I just want to touch upon it. If you're using oil-based products, you want that oil to be plant-based, okay, not from animal, number one. And number two, you want it to be highly refined. So it will not cause damage to the skin. It will not clog the pores and add buildup on the skin. So all oil should be highly refined, okay? So water, let's go back to that, is what flushes in and out of skin. We did not have to think about this, meaning as human beings, we need water. You can't live without it. You cleanse with water. So having it as a number one ingredient in your skin products, in your treatments, to me is only common sense, okay? Let's begin with what not to do. So let's start with the word beware. Products that contain mineral oil, petrolatum, lanolin, animal fat, cocoa butter, paraffin cannot penetrate the top layers of skin, cannot penetrate that top dead layer, okay? So you can use, for an example, a product that is water-based, and I just said water is a main ingredient. You could use a product that has some really good ingredients, really effective, active ingredients in it, and that are organic, that are considered natural. And then though, you could have that same product that also has paraffin in it. Here we go back to that, those 4 things: natural, organic, clean, and chemical. You could have all those great things in there and one ingredient that's going to stop it. It's not going to have the benefit. It doesn't matter how great those antioxidant ingredients are, minerals, nutrients are. If it's in the wrong base, you're just rubbing oil and dirt around. Abrasive products such as facial scrubs, microdermabrasion, facial brushes, buff puffs can weaken or break the capillaries. Now, I want to point something out. When I was putting this together, I thought, oh, I'm going to use microdermabrasion. I'm going out on a limb here because many of you do microdermabrasion. Why I've included this under this category, a microdermabrasion can be abrasive. Depending on your pressure when you are doing the treatment on the client, depends whether or not you weaken or break those capillaries, okay? So I wanted to throw that in there. It does have benefit to the skin, definitely, but you need to be very careful because I have seen in our skin center many clients come in that have damaged skin because the esthetician was putting too much pressure when doing the microdermabrasion or when doing scrubs. So we need to be careful. Our capillaries are very close to the surface of the skin, and our capillaries are what nourish and heal our skin. So we need to be very careful not to weaken or break them in any way. Yes, you'll have clean skin after doing those procedures, but you will have a hard time healing. And then alcohol, but let me go back to the abrasive. So let's say you're doing everything right in your treatment room, and then the client goes home, even a washcloth, has a heavy hand and is scrubbing the skin. They just defeated everything you just did for them. So educating our client is so important of how to care for their skin at home. Next, alcohol, astringents, liquid toners can dehydrate the skin. You got to be careful there because most of those type of products or ingredients, ingredients lower that pH. It's going to bring it below the 4.5, and it's going to dry the skin. It's going to eat away at the skin. It's going to burn it. So on a daily basis can cause a lot of damage, okay? More than just dry skin. So you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Number of ingredients. The quantity of ingredients depends on what the ingredients are intended to do in that product. Many times you will see a list of ingredients we refer to as fillers, okay? When you choose quantity over quality, you can sacrifice the strength and efficacy of your product. And I hope this makes sense to you. You might want to screenshot this because this is important. This means you are much less likely to see results you want from your skincare routine, okay? When we add these fillers in, it takes away from these active ingredients. When choosing professional products, you only need to use a small amount because they most likely have a higher concentration of those active ingredients, which in the long run is going to mean the product lasts longer and it's more effective. Okay, so when you see a long list, skim. If you see that they are mainly making up of authentic, healthy ingredients, then it's okay. Don't be shy. Don't shy away from a product that has a long list of ingredients. However, beware. So a combination, because many times manufacturers will put a lot of fillers in theirs, okay? So be careful of that. But there's always two sides. There's always two sides. And you have to make that decision on your own. The strength of the ingredients, okay? The order in which the ingredients are listed on your skincare label matters. And skincare companies this is required by the FDA, must list the ingredients in the order of volume or weight, the largest first and the smallest last. And I italicize this because I think this is very important, which means the higher up on the list of the ingredient in your skincare label, the more of it there is in that specific product. Okay, we're going to move to another page here, another slide. I want you to remember this. The higher it is on the list, the more of that ingredient is in that product. Okay, so let's talk briefly about preservatives, because this is a big thing right now. Preservatives are substances used in cosmetics to prevent bacterial contamination of products. Here's the chemical part. We need preservatives in our products, okay? While there can be a risk of irritation from some of these types of ingredients, and that's true, the risk to skin and eyes from using a contaminated product is considered by many scientists to be even greater, okay? So which outweighs? It's not a cut and dry answer here with preservatives. We need them in there. If you find, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but let's say the preservative should be at the end. It should not be at the highest ranking in a label, of an ingredient label. It should be towards the end. And that's what's important on that slide previous. When I said to you, which means the higher up on the list the ingredient is on your skincare label, the more of it there is in that specific product. So if it's on the lower end, okay, just because you may see something in there, if it's on the lower end, it might have a very, very small amount of it. It will have a very small amount compared to what's higher. So keep that in mind when we talk about the safety of preservatives in our products and the effectiveness. Antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals. Antioxidants are enzymes that are present in our body, and their role is to protect us from these free radicals that are also present in our body. The first source of antioxidants for us is in the food that we eat. Vitamins, minerals, herbs act as antioxidants for us. And that's why we're seeing, and I feel that there's a lot of truth to this, but I also feel that there is a marketing to antioxidants in hair care, skin care, and nail care. You got to be careful because you can have, once again, great antioxidant ingredients in there that really have benefit to us health internally and externally. But if it's in the wrong base, a mineral oil, a lanolin, a petrolatum, it doesn't matter. That antioxidant is doing nothing. It's just laying on dead skin. So be careful Understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, okay? So antioxidants, they're great. And this is a whole subject matter in itself, and probably very dear to me, this particular subject, because I think nutrition is something we all need to know about. It doesn't matter how great your skincare product is or your skin service is. If your client has poor nutrition, you're going to have poor skin. You're not going to have healthy skin, and then we just become a band-aid for that client. So what we eat has a direct bearing on how our skin, hair, and nails behave. All right. The goal for us as estheticians, cosmetologists, nail technicians, the goal for us as teachers to teach the consumer and to teach professionals in our industry is to topically duplicate what the body does internally with ingredients that work. Okay, skin is two-sided. The inside takes care of itself. When we treat skin, when we use products, when we choose the ingredients in those products, and when we choose the services we offer, the idea should be behind it to topically duplicate what the body does internally so we can heal. When we do that, we're giving the skin what it needs as an organ. Cleansing versus exfoliating. This is a tricky one, right? Because we got a lot of these two words going around in all different directions in product lines. Is there a difference? I'll give you my opinion. And I feel the answer is not much. So let's talk about cleansing. Cleansing should exfoliate, as that is its purpose. What is the difference between cleanse and exfoliate? Well, what does a cleanser do? A cleanser cleans 2,800 openings per square inch of skin. Now you can picture in your mind, after seeing that pore blown up 2,400 times, how close these openings are to each other, right? They're just next to each other. So the cleanser, water being the main ingredient, moves into that, a good pH balance, a good detergent in there, cleans that toxin out of the pores multiplied. Isn't that cleanser also touching the dead skin that lays around it? Isn't it removing that dead buildup? Yes, it is. That's its job. Cleanse means to remove, to exfoliate, to get rid of. Exfoliate now has become very popular in the last, 10 years, right? What does that mean? It means to remove, to get rid of, right? It's the same thing. There is no difference, except exfoliation can be a little stronger. And I'm going to give you my philosophy here, okay? Skin is an organ. It's the largest organ of the body. That is the truth. It is no thicker than a sheet of paper. That is the truth. We have layer upon layer upon layer in the skin, no thicker than a sheet of paper, and we have thousands and thousands of blood vessels all in underneath the skin or in the layer of skin, nourishing it. When we scrub, when we are too abrasive to the skin, as I said before, we risk breaking the vehicle that's going to heal, and that's going to be the capillary layer. Is there a time to do that? Yes, not to risk breaking it, but a time to use something stronger. And the answer is yes. As a professional, we should be the person that decides that. The when, the how, the who, and the what. Let's take our dishes. When you wash your dishes, do you use 2 different cleansers to wash your dishes? No. How about brush your teeth? 2 different products to brush your teeth daily? No. Washing your floors. Dirt all over our floors, right? Some of us. Do we use different products? Different steps? No. Our clothing, washing our clothes? No, we use the same thing. Why is it then, when it comes to cleansing the largest uninterrupted organ, we have many different cleansers for different parts of the body and many different steps in it? It doesn't make sense. Now I'm going to go back to washing a dish, okay, or one of our pans. Let's say that pan, we couldn't get it off in one cleansing. We need to use something a little stronger, a little bit more aggressive to remove that debris that's sitting in that saucepan, okay? That's a rare occasion. That's not what we do with skin, though. Most of us in the industry, we tend to use very aggressive type treatments, many type products that are burning, peeling, scrubbing, depleting, and we risk causing harm to the largest uninterrupted organ of the body. Is there a time for it? Yes, but we need to know the difference. 100% we need to know the difference of when, how, and who, okay? So this brings me to doing a wrong to make a right. As professionals, we sometimes may need to do a wrong, all right, to get the results we're looking to achieve. However, and I'm going to repeat this, knowing when, how, who, and what is the key to a good skin therapist. I cannot stress that to you enough. Are acid peels good for everyone? No. Do a lot of estheticians out there do that on everyone? Mm-hmm. When they, the idea is when they hit a certain age, and if the age is getting younger and younger, okay, that we should be doing these. Many times we're just removing product buildup off of the client's skin. We burn it and then we put stuff back on. We burn it and then we coat it. And it's just this vicious cycle. There is a time that we're going to choose to do that. We have to know when, and we have to know when to stop. If you continually have to do this with the client, something is not right. And usually it's the products that they're using in home care, either that we are prescribing for them or they are choosing to buy from other people besides us, okay? Ask yourself, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Again, there may be a time you need to use a paraffin or something with lanolin in it. Is it good for the skin? The answer is no. But we may need to do that to try to get the end result, to make something right. We need to do a wrong to make it right. But once it's corrected, we stop doing it, and then we meet the requirements of skin as an organ. I hope that made sense to you. And we're going to finish with the last couple slides here talking about clean cosmetics. Rule, oil and water do not mix. We want our cosmetics to be water-based and oil-free. Makeup that is not water-based can cause damage to the skin by enlarging pores, increasing fine lines and wrinkles, intensifying hyperpigmentation and dark spots, causing acne, and can inhibit the growth of healthy cell renewal. You got that? Oil-based makeup is counterproductive to the skin treatments you offer your clients. So you can use the best skincare products out there, fantastic ingredients. If they put on a cosmetic that is going to plug the pores, that's going to add buildup, it just defeated everything you did with them. Test your products. Know what you're doing. Test your clients' products so you know what they're doing at home. And test products, your products either mix with water or they don't. That's how you test cosmetics. They either mix with water or they don't. If they don't, get them off of your skin. All makeup should come off with water. And as I just said, if it doesn't, you're using the wrong makeup. So, with that said, we went a little longer than I anticipated. There's so much that could be talked about still on that subject matter of product knowledge, of ingredients, pHs. We could go on and on. It really is a 5-7 hour class right there. But I hope today what at least got you thinking, a little bit better understanding of what your role is as a professional, of how we need to have a better understanding of the science behind things and not so much the sales first. Start with the science and then we tie in the sales. But if you start with the sales first, it gets lost. So if you have questions, we have our email address there. Our 800 number is there. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me personally with any questions whatsoever. We're happy to help. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. So thanks again for joining us. Have a fantastic day. Thanks, everyone.